On today's episode of the podcast, we'll be discussing issues regarding medical marijuana. Although medical marijuana has proven itself as a helpful medicine, there are many downsides involved with medical marijuana. The risks of memory loss, exposure to the youth, increases in anxiety, and a 9% rate of dependence in users. Exposure to the youth is starting to become a prominent issue as advertisements for medical marijuana continue to be put out due to the legalization of medical marijuana in more and more states. In response to an AJPH article, Laura Schmidt said, "The youth of the United States continue to gain a more permissive view on marijuana. This permissive view on marijuana can come from social media celebrities, artists, advertisements, and even from older siblings or kids at school. The perspective may also come from teens believing that it will not cause any harm due to the medicinal value of medical marijuana." In Cannabis vs. Marijuana, THC vs. CBD, The State of the Science, Janice Selectman and Joan Edelstein said 9 schools in the United States now allow the administration of medical cannabis. This would be an issue if schools continue to allow medical marijuana, because students with prescriptions who take a dose during the school day can jeopardize their learning due to the tendency of marijuana to cause short-term memory loss, as well as loss in focus. Use in medical cannabis, dependence on the drug is quite common. The strong dependence linked to frequent use of medical cannabis leads to nasty withdrawal symptoms and detrimental side effects. Withdrawal symptoms can get in the way of daily life and hold people back from completing homework assignments, showing up to work, or taking care of themselves or others. When listing side effects, Selectman and Edelstein stated, "Adolescent marijuana use is associated with a 5.5 to 7.3 point decrease in one's IQ score. This link between cannabis use and brain damage is undeniable. Cannabis use can decrease IQ scores, especially in adolescents." In Cannabis vs. Marijuana, THC vs. CBD, The State of the Science, Selectman and Edelstein also said, "Short-term memory loss and impairment to attention and concentration occurs within the first 7 hours of use. Impairment to concentration within 7 hours can cause difficulty. People cannot perform everyday functions such as driving and focusing on work. This issue has sparked several problems regarding the legality of driving under the influence of marijuana. Researchers have also discovered a disease directly related to marijuana use called CHS, also known as cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. This disease causes unhealthy symptoms such as increased nausea, vomiting, and dehydration, developing into more severe symptoms with prolonged use. Medical marijuana has been the topic of debate in the medical field for decades now, primarily on the risks of smoking cannabis. Overall, the overarching issue within medical marijuana reside in the advertisement to the youth, physical damage to the body, mental illnesses, and the possibility of dependence. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast.